show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that
Hey everyone, welcome to the spot. Today we are here live at Babylon Football Cafe in Falls Church, Virginia. It's an international restaurant with food, sports, drinks, and it's even a hookah lounge. So we are here today enjoying some of the libations and of course doing our power review. I'm Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we also have our Atlanta correspondent, Leanda, who will be coming in later on during the show. But for now, let's get into the reason why we're all here. Today we're reviewing Power Season 3, Episode 6. And like we said from last week, it just keeps getting better every episode.
Well, you know.
Every time. And so it's really good to see how they keep progressing. And I like Courtney's comment that she made at a recap of today's show. And she said, you know, the audience expects us to keep punching them. And they continue to step it up for us. And I'm happy about that.
Yeah, me too.
Episode 6 knocked me out.
Yeah, so let's get into the conversation about Lobos and his big escape. And so we see how Tommy has been cooperating with his men, Lobos' guys, to get him out. And so how do you guys feel about how everything went down?
I thought it was a bumbling mess. I thought it was a bumbling mess.
They look like three stooges.
They look like three stooges.
Well, the two stooges. What was going on with the conversation between Tommy and Ghost?
Ghost
While
was
Lobos
slipping. Ghost was slipping.
Why you blame Ghost all the time? I think.
No,
I think. No,
Ghost
we'll
was
get into
slipping.
that.
Usually Ghost is
you anti-Ghost.
cool, calm. No, I'm not anti-Ghost. But Ghost is usually cool, calm, and collected. And this time
He's
it seemed
unraveling.
like, yeah.
But don't forget, Lobos slipped a little Mickey in this whole thing. Remember when Lobos had Ghost thinking, because he said, you know, that your family could be in danger.
He said Angela could be
Angela
in
could be
danger.
in
That's why he kind of like, hold
so
up.
So then he was like, okay, should we kill him? Now where Lobos made a mistake, he's talking about Holly.
Because they already knew that Holly was dead.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and Lobos didn't know that. That's what got him back on track.
Right,
Yeah. And also Lobos was pretty much getting into Tommy's head and trying to create doubt. Like, you know, Ghost, he betrayed you, he betrayed me. He was trying to generate that doubt.
He wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He really wasn't.
That. But the Holly thing, you're right, that's what got them back on track.
But I do
Tommy
think...
want to kill somebody anyway. So.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's already done Holly. Now he's upset. He'll kill anybody.
Right.
I think what really got Ghost thinking though is when Lobos mentioned to him, he said, you know, killing me won't make the problem go away. And he also said, you know, God doesn't take people like me and you peacefully.
Right.
And so he was like,
He's right.
he kind of got shook off of that comment. He kind of like thought about it, but he was
Right.
like, So
Right.
I really thought that was very interesting how that went down. And then of course that little scuffle they had when they let Lobos get away.
I thought Ghost took another L in that scene because especially when Lobos was choking him out with the handcuffs. I was like, there he is getting choked again. In the season finale, Kanan was
but he handled that. And what I like about it is the fact that he put 2 bullets in his chest. So now the question becomes, is he really dead?
Right.
Or
He might have a vest
will we
on,
see
like
him
Greg
again?
did.
Well, that's another thing. But the only thing with that is if he has on a vest, the bleed that we saw wouldn't suggest that he has on a vest. But I don't know. That's up for the writers to kind of.
He may be gone, but whenever they find Lobos' body, you know, there's
Or
gonna
not.
be questions there. Or
Oh,
not.
yeah.
Well, they just left it. They
Yeah,
didn't.
that's what
They
I'm
just
saying.
left it for the vultures and Hugo or whoever will find the body. I mean, who are they gonna think did that?
And
Jimenez.
Maybe, but I'm sad to see Lobos' character go because even in the face of death, he was still joking.
What about
I
Greg?
know.
Okay, I thought Greg was out.
I thought Greg was gone too. I
I
was
was-
clapping, but then I seen that he wasn't gone yet. I was like, hold up.
I did 15 push-ups right after.
Greg was not out of there yet, but I still think he's gonna be his demise.
And he's still really fired up. And
Yeah,
he's
he
still
is.
talking with Sax, and Sax kind of suggested that he go and get back with Angela. And I was like, okay, so.
You think that Greg might figure out?
Eventually, and I think that's gonna lead to his demise. I think eventually he's gonna figure out. Right now, he thinks it's Angela that set up that it was an inside
I
job,
think
but
he has a corner eye on Mike, though. I really do.
he's
He
trying.
looks at him a little-
He's figuring it out. I
Yeah.
think he's figuring. I don't think he knows it's Mike yet. But I think eventually he will figure it out.
Mike was a little hot though, trying to cover his tracks. He was
Yeah,
really trying hard
Yeah,
to
he's trying
cover
real
himself.
Yeah, he really was. But because he's so angry with Angela, you know, I don't know.
So I think we all still agree that he's gonna die at some point.
Oh, I think so. I think so.
He's gotta
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Well, how about this whole Tasha and Ghost situation? Because we see how she provided the Ghost alibi for this whole Lobos thing. And Tasha is a ride or die for real.
She is, and he so does not deserve it. Ghost, he does not deserve her loyalty.
Yeah. Because I can't see any other woman in her position still riding for him like she does.
Oh my goodness. And texting the chick, you know, she was like, does this be even work? She's texting all day long.
And Ghost was
so,
like,
and
she sounded just like me in the texting.
Yeah. I was just like, no, I couldn't have.
So what would you have Ghost do? He's in love with Angie. We all know that. He had Tasha play the role because Tasha does that very well.
Yeah.
So he had to cover his track with
He
Angie.
had to cover his
He had
tracks,
to
but
cover it.
I
And
felt
if
some
he-
type of way when
Yeah,
he
because-
sat up there and he was like, I
I
love
love
you,
you.
I love you.
But that's
and
the way- but-
bye, baby. Da-da-da-da. But
Okay,
he's saying this
but
in front of his
anything-
wife. He was
wife.
in front of his
Okay,
wife.
anything else, Angie would have been a little suspicious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is where I had an issue with Ghost, and I tell you, I said it before. The cojones on Ghost are huge because he tried to get in the bed.
Yeah.
Like after that, he tried to get in the bed like they were at home, like everything was normal. Like, are you crazy?
And Tasha put a halt on that real quick.
Right, she put the kibosh on that, and I would have too. And matter of fact, like
You
last
said
season when she
are you
snapped him up
saying
in the
that
truck,
they can't
he would have got a
sleep
few
in the
more of
bed
those.
together without touching each other?
That's not the point.
No,
You just
no,
don't come
no.
over here after you done what
After
you
you know what you did,
And
bye,
mind
baby,
you,
this and the other.
she found the separation papers.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Separation
it's a big
papers.
bed. You stay on your side. I'll stay on
No,
mine.
he was
He
right
was
where
right
he
where he
needed to
belonged,
be.
on the couch.
See, y'all put everybody on the couch. He should have been in the bed.
No,
That's where he
no,
belonged.
no.
And maybe had he gotten in the bed with Tasha, you never know. Things may have changed.
No, I don't think so.
No, she said she's done with him, and I agree. I'm done with him
yes.
too.
I'm happy she is done with them. Hopefully, but you know,
I'm done with
They're
him.
not done with each other, okay? I'm gonna tell you that up front. Okay? They're not done with each other.
Well, they love him, and a lot of it has to
And
do
she's
with.
sitting up there looking like a chocolate Hershey bar. That was I'm sorry, but
Anyway, and so was he. Did y'all see that table scene?
Yes, I
So was
think
he.
I've seen that.
And that has a lot to do with. I mean, they both love him, of course, but that table scene has a lot to do with why they also love him too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Amari Hardwick, MVP.
Yeah, these
with the
love scenes are very intense.
Power, being Mary Jane. He can school a lot of the other actors.
I tell you, you put a lot of pressure on us brothers. Though. You gotta make that lighten up on that love scene a little bit.
Well,
No, let's not.
You said let's not. How about the fact that Tasha has introduced Tariq's issue? He tried to run away again. He's back talking to her mother.
And he just was like, he dismissed that like,
No,
oh,
actually, he
it's-
didn't really dismiss it. In fact, I think that that's one of the decisions that Ghost had to make from the very beginning anyway, because it's really not just about he and Tasha.
Right,
It's also
about the
about
children.
it's about his kids.
Uh-huh.
And now he's seeing that Tariq really isn't adjusting like he thought he might.
Right.
I mean, running away is a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal.
So
But you heard what he said to Tasha. He was like, he's just trying to adjust to the situation. So his response was dismissive.
okay.
His
But I
response was dismissive.
but you would expect that because he's
No,
not. He's not.
I don't expect that
He's
for
not
him to say that to
openly-
his wife and the mother of his children.
He's not
Hell,
openly
always
ready. He's not openly ready
to accept responsibility,
Okay.
which is why I said that Ghost was a
And
punk.
Ghost, he's also very manipulative, and
He
tries
is.
to, use what he's doing and
Yeah,
justify
yeah.
it by saying that it's in for the safety of the family. And that while he's trying to protect the family, he's trying to justify the other.
Yes,
it's not
he's
okay.
trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's like, oh, I'm doing this for my family.
Yeah. Well, I think this would be a good time to check in with Leanda and see what she's got for us.
So we're in the boardroom here at the consulate. Now we're going to see who really has the power. Okay, so now what does Tasha do next? What is her next move?
I think Tasha's gonna be like most women and just feel like time to get my stuff make a plan for myself and my children and just move forward. I mean, she's already educated. She knows about accounting. I don't know if she ever wants to deal with a kind of lifestyle like that, but I feel like she's going to struggle because that money that she's used to, that cash flow, is going to be like, where's the cash?
Yeah, that is
So, especially being in New York, you know, so she's definitely going to want to still stay in a certain situation, in a position, and we all understand that.
okay. So you've heard the saying that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So do you think at any point Tasha and Angie will get together? Because Ghost has essentially done both of them wrong.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
I don't think so because I don't think it's a beneficial relationship. You know, I don't. Plus, there's so many things going on that are at odds. I mean, Angie's the law, Tasha's not, so they can't really hang out. You know, they're not going to be going to the bathroom together,
Okay.
BFFs. I think it's going to be like a frenemy thing.
A friendly thing.
They'll just be frenemies.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what do you think what role Tasha will play in Tommy finding out that Holly was pregnant? She's already assumed that Ghost knew and spilled the beans. So is that going to be where the leak comes from? And then what do you think Tommy will do once he finds out that Holly was pregnant?
Oh, I think Tommy is such an emotional ball as it is. And I feel like he's going to just melt because he wants that family, you know, and knowing that she was pregnant and he had to, you know, kind of take her out was kind of, it's hard, you know, it's rough. So I don't know if he'll be able to even forgive himself. He could totally mental breakdown. I can see that happening and just say, forget all this. But, you know, I mean, I think that he's going to be I think this information he almost doesn't want to have.
Yeah. It's almost like the one thing that he probably should not know.
Should not know. Yeah, I agree with
Should
that.
not know.
Yeah.
Okay, there were some other great moments in this episode. One of the funniest ones, I think, was when Lobos was in the back of the van and he stretched his leg out across Greg's lap. I think I almost came unglued. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, he's a character.
He was definitely a character, and he's one of the ones that I'm gonna miss because I think it gave some levity to the show. And
Yeah.
It's not always so serious. So I'm going to miss him. I have an interesting question for you. So you have a background in hospitality, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So what do you think about Karen Bassett and her boutique line of hotels?
Right.
Is Ghost ready for the upper echelons of hospitality and entertainment?
From my professional experience, absolutely not.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I think the club world is something you'd be familiar with because there's no food involved. But once you get into hotels, that is like the top tier of hospitality because you have to cover everybody's needs, you know, and do it exquisitely. And that was a 5-star establishment. You could tell just how it was looked for the set, and, you know, it was very nice service and things of that nature. So, I mean, I don't know if he's going in the right direction. I know he has this cleaning up the money thing he's got to do, but I feel like he's not ready to take on that level of responsibility. He's got to get some training.
Okay.
I don't know if he even knows the difference between a white and a red glass, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. And you know, Ghost, when Power first started, I think what impressed me most about Ghost was the fact that he was so willing to reinvent himself.
Yeah.
And now you kind of see through that facade.
Yeah.
And he's not as polished as he once looked before.
Right.
And it's almost like he's trying to change himself. But then I was convinced, like Angela was convinced, that he could fit into this world.
Right.
And now I'm not so convinced, right?
Yeah.
Because one, he's not as strategic as he used to be. Angela has definitely distracted him enough to take his focus off his game.
Right.
And then you kind of see that he just is not fated to fit into this world. He's not going to get the fantasy. He's not going to get the dream.
Yeah, I think he hasn't really been vetted. And, I mean, he has etiquette enough to, you know, present himself. He's not like some rogue guy like Tommy. Tommy's very rough around the edges, you know, but that's who his character is. I feel like he wants that clean lifestyle because he just wants to get out of it. And I understand that, you know, it was a means to an end. But with the amount of destruction that he's done in his past, he's always going to have to be sweeping something under the rug, and that's exhausting because, you know, once you get to a certain point, you have to be able to have people trust you, you know, and conceal secrets and, you know, keep a certain lifestyle going. And I don't think he's got enough control over his past to kind of get to that next level, you know?
And speaking of that, having control of over your past. So last season, when Ghost was kind of exterminating everyone who could possibly expose him as Ghost,
Right.
he killed and took out the Surge and the stuff. Well, that has come back to haunt him.
Right.
So the security, the head of the security detail was acting somewhat suspicious, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And now we know why.
Yes.
He's Milan.
I know.
And so, whereas Ghost was really trying to get out of the whole drug dealing industry, now he's deeper in, right?
Yes.
He's really pulled back in. And this way, there's no way out. His mind is already thinking, how can I get out? Just kill him. And he starts to see, no, you're not going to be able to get out
Right.
that way now.
Right.
So, what do you think Ghost's next move will be?
I think he's kind of cockholded. You know, he has no choice but to work for this guy because the security breach has been exposed. He has no options really, and like he was saying, you know, he doesn't have like a hierarchy where it's just this one guy at the top and then after that the cartel falls. It's the complete opposite. It'll keep going. So he's kind of in this rat race of you know, criminal masterminds, and he has nowhere to go really. So I mean, I'm really curious to see how he's going to plan out his next move because now he's coerced into working with this organization and he can't get out of it. You know, he's just in too deep.
Okay, and so you say he's in too deep. Lobos said something that I think was very profound when Ghost was about to kill him. He was like, basically, like, I get it. This is how it ends.
Yes.
And you're going to end up here
just
too.
like that.
So
Yes.
do you? I've seen some interviews with the show's creator Courtney Kemp, and she's basically said that everything that they do is strategic, right? So there's something will happen in season 2 that's very foretelling for season 3.
Right.
So is that the foretelling of how this is going to end for Ghost? There are only 3 options. Either he gets away clean,
Right.
he goes to prison, or he ends up dead. So is that kind of a hint of what we think is going to happen?
I mean, I think it was definitely foreshadowing, you know, like just saying like, here's your future, you know, take a good look because you'll be here too. I mean, and I think because he doesn't have so many cards on the table to play out, I mean, what else is going to happen? You know,
That's exactly right.
I mean, I really want more for him because that struggle is something that, you know, you're doing something you don't want to do, and then you just got to get out of it anyways. So I don't understand, but I empathize where he's at. But you know, I feel that he's not going to be able to get out of it unless he makes some drastic decisions. Yeah.
Thanks for that, LaWanda. We're back here at Babylon Football Cafe in Falls Church, Virginia. And with us we have Lily. She's a server and bartender here at Babylon, and she's also a huge Power fan. So we have a few questions for her.
Absolutely.
All right, so how do you feel about how the season is so far?
To be honest, I think it's amazing because I'm going to be honest, like, I stopped watching TV shows for a while. I just think it's not like it used to be. But Power, it keeps drawing me every week. Like, I can't wait to the next episode.
So who's your favorite character?
I have to say Ghost.
Okay. Why is that? Is it because of his man in the physique guy?
Why?
Is he the actor that you expect, or what is it about Ghost you like?
I mean, I like Ghost because the line business that he does, but at the same time, even it's not right, but he's good at it. He played a very good role. He's really smooth, sexy.
Calculating. Oh yes, I would never argue that point.
And it just he's real. He's real. Yeah, it makes you feel like, you know, this it's a real show.
Yes.
I really like it.
Yeah, me too. It's one of my
Who you
favorite
love to
shows.
hate?
Yeah. Who I would love to hate? It would have to be Holly.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
were part of the Holly is Dead party last week?
I wasn't feeling her from the beginning because I like the relationship between Tommy and Ghost.
Yes.
And I didn't like how she came in there trying to destroy it.
Yes.
I didn't like
I
that.
had an issue with her for that
Right.
too.
They had their issues, but at the end of the day, they was like more like brothers.
Right. They are. They
And
are like brothers.
she messed it up.
Well, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you Team Tasha or Team Angie?
I have to say Angie.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have to say Angie.
Okay.
Stop
And
the
why?
presses.
Please share. Please share.
Why would I say Angie? I like Angie because she risks her job, her career that she loves so much for the men that she loves.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't think that Tasha is ride or die too?
She is bad. She is.
Yeah, she wants to keep
So
up
do
the
you
game.
think Ghost is right for leaving his family and Tasha to move over and try to get this family love thing with Angie?
Absolutely, because this is the woman that he loved since he was a teenager.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
He been in love with her since he was a teenager.
Wow.
You're one of those romantics, the helpless romantics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I am too.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
good. Thank you for coming in and giving us your opinion on a lot of these topics. And I'm sure you'll continue to watch.
Oh, I love Power. I'm telling you, Power is just a show. My cousin Bill was trying to get me to watch Power, and I was like, I can't do no more TV shows. I really can't. She had me watch. She's like, just watch it one time, and I did.
And you were hooked.
And you're hooked.
I
Yeah,
could
me
not
too.
stop
I was
watching it.
hooked from the first episode.
I really like. They did a really good job with Power.
Yes, they
Awesome.
did.
They did.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was
Thank
a pleasure having
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, moving things right along, I really want to get into the topic of ghost security because he calls in Dean, his security guard, to fire him.
Yes.
But we really see a transition where Dean goes from this really nice, upstanding gentleman who has saved Ghost's life, and all of a sudden things shift, and he's now this big, sinister, menacing drug lord. And
The serve.
he's the serve. He's the serve.
He's the boss man.
Yes.
Milan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He
That's
was,
Milan.
he was the one that Vladimir and Tommy were afraid of last
Last
season.
season,
And they said he was a cannibal.
Yes, he eats people. So he's the real deal. And I think for Ghost, I think we really seen a shift in him too, because in an instant we see him going from being really in control of things to all of a sudden he has no control.
He's lost. He's lost right now. What
Yeah,
what
he
can he
is.
do? Because with a now understanding that he has to work for Milan,
Right.
and Milan is no joke.
Right.
Because just as Tommy pointed out, it's not going to be as simple as going up killing Milan because you don't know his organization, you don't know his people. He's all inside your clubs. He's even at your house. So protecting your fam. So he's got a lot to think. About at this point.
And he's aware of his affair with Angela too, so he knows the ins and outs.
He knows
everything.
everything. He knows. He did his reconnaissance.
Yes,
Really well.
And Tommy also pointed out, we're so used to Ghost being 10 steps ahead of everybody else, but Tommy said, this man's been working right up under your nose. You probably don't even know what kind of car he drives.
And that's one of the things, to Tiara's point, that's really interesting because we're used to seeing Ghost in charge and being the calculating, methodical one. And Tommy is the one being the voice of reason. And he's usually the hothead.
Which is why he needs Tasha. He needs my girl. Because I think Tasha's got a plan for this. If he comes clean with Tasha and let her know what's going on, I bet Tasha has a plan.
Tasha probably does, but I think she's done doing for Ghost.
She
so.
can't be done doing for Ghost. She's not through with the scene. She's not through with the money. She's not through with Ghost. She said she was, but she's not through with Ghost.
I know she's tired of Ghost. She said, I'm done with you. Because he, like she said to Angela a couple episodes ago, once you start doing for Ghost, you're always doing for Ghost. And right now, he seems like a taker.
Okay.
And now the other
Did
issue.
she not pull out that prenup?
She did.
She did.
But
right.
That's
for divorce.
Exactly, but she's also backed in the corner because Ghost reminded her you're still an accomplice to this.
Right.
So you can't
she's
do too
much.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's why I said she's in the mix.
Okay, well the other thing that he has to worry about is Angela, because now that he has to get back into the drug game, Tommy said, what you gonna do about your federal girlfriend? Because she's not gonna, when she finds out, she's gonna give you up. And he's been reminded of this episode 3 times. Lobos has reminded him of this. Tasha has reminded him of this, and now Tommy is reminding him. Angela is a problem. She's a liability.
She's always been a problem because you can't mix business and pleasure like that. You can't.
The comment.
Angie has a job to do, and she's proven that she's not giving up her job.
Look, the comment of the episode, I was so feeling Tommy when he called her the side B, like when Ghost said, well, we're gonna do this plan with Karen Bassett and so forth, and Tommy said, who's Karen? He was like, you got a side B for your side B?
Yeah.
He even referred to her as a side B, and it's ironic because on Twitter, there's Twitter handle dedicated to James and Angela, and they really ship and ride for James and Angela, and they always talk about she's his girlfriend now. So she's not a side chick. And I'm like, as long as he's still married, she's a side chick. And Tommy just confirmed it. Sorry guys, she's still a side chick.
Keep her on that side chick level.
Well, the other problem that I have with Ghost is that he has the tendency to want to get rid of problems by taking somebody out. And with Milan really reminded him, he said, I'm not like Lobos. You can take me out, but you can't stop my organization from doing what they're going to do.
Right.
Well, he's like I said, he's in a real, quandary here because you can't dismiss Dean.
Yeah,
no,
Dean is
you can't dismiss him.
Well, Milan.
And like you already said, Tommy pointed out that you don't know his network.
Right.
I mean,
you don't know anything about it.
Right.
You really don't. And even if you were to know it, I bet his network is way too large for you.
Yeah.
You're going to walk up in there and
because even Vladimir was scared of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really scared of him.
No, he's the real deal.
Yeah, and the other thing about that is that Tommy and Ghost, there's now this rift between them. Since the Lobos killing, we seen how Tommy tried to tell him, like, no, don't kill him. Yeah, we need to figure out how to get rid of the body. But Ghost still went ahead with his own plans, and that didn't sit well with Tommy. And so after that situation where Ghost is still doing things his way, Tommy is, you can see after the fact that there's still a rift between them.
But look at the problem you would have had he not shot him and they got away. Remember,
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
had already called for a GPS.
But like Tommy said, he could have done it by the road. Like they took so much time, fussing and carrying on before they actually carried out the act.
But see, the point about this is that regardless of what happened with the Lobos thing, the rift is still there. And so going forward, Ghost is going to have an issue with working with Tommy because Tommy still is like, you've been downplaying me, you've been overstepping your boundaries with me, you're not really concerned.
You don't respect him.
And he's not going to be happy with the fact that he just left Angie. He really wants
He wants her.
Yeah,
he wants to kill him.
He wants her dead.
Yeah.
He lost his.
Yeah, and that's my point. I think a part of Tommy would feel better if Ghost killed Angela because he killed Tommy.
Exactly.
And so he's like, how they say misery loves company?
Exactly.
Yes.
I think that's what Tommy is thinking. Like, let's get our bromance back. We done already took Holly out the way. Let's get Angela out the way so we can be united again for real.
Right.
It feels so good.
Okay.
Okay, well, we've talked about that, but I want to really get into this big breakup scene with Angie and Ghost. Oh my goodness.
I was so happy that he showed up.
We all knew it was coming, though.
He put his manhood on. He broke that up. But it was cold, though. I mean, it was cold.
It's not about how he did it. It's the fact of why he did it for me.
Right.
Because he would have never done that if Angela had not been threatened twice this episode. Lobos threatened to kill her, and then Milan threatened to kill her. And it took Angela being at risk for him to decide to go home. And that was my huge problem with him.
Me too.
Do you think, okay, so what was he supposed to do? Talk to Angie about what the deal is and what?
Well, I'm not saying that, but his excuse with Angela was that Tariq was having behavioral issues at home and he needed to go home and handle that.
Which is the truth.
It is the truth, but that's not the real reason
that's not
why.
The real reason.
Okay,
and that's also not a good enough excuse for Angela, and that's why she kept pushing the truth.
But
like,
what's the truth? He can't tell her the truth. We realize that. And he had to put it on the family because that's the only place he could go with it. It can't be I got a headache tonight, so that's why, I'm breaking up with you.
But
So
what I'm saying is it should have been, I see my kids slipping away. I
Right.
put my family
That wasn't
first.
the
I need to go
priority.
home.
His children
It's
and
now
family
the
were the
fact
priority. Now that her life was in danger, then he was
wants to
like,
go
oh,
home.
now I gotta go home.
Okay, y'all still want to wear the moral socks. Okay, we realize
socks.
that he didn't do right from day one with his family. We understand that, but let's move forward. What does he do now with Angie trying to get rid of her? There's only two ways he can go. He can kill her, or he can break up with her.
But that's not even true though, because regardless of whether he breaks up with her or not, Milan still knows about her, and he knows that he has a soft spot.
Everybody knows he has a soft spot.
And so he could just take her out, and Jamie's still going to be affected.
Which is exactly why I'm sorry to say, he's got to.
That's what Tommy was saying. You
Yeah,
got to take her out.
Because he
She's a
doesn't have a
liability.
choice. Just because he broke up with her doesn't mean
She's
right. And
that
Tommy
doesn't
said
love
if
her
he
anymore.
does it, she won't suffer.
And you know what? That was a good point too.
Milan will test it.
Yes, he
Once-
said that
once he
what
finds
Milan
out.
will do, I wouldn't even wish that.
Because
I wouldn't even wish that on
Ghost
anybody.
is, he's so bronze. I think what he'll do is he'll go back up and say something to Milan like, I'm not doing whatever it is you want me to do. So go ahead and do whatever it is you have to do.
I don't think he's gonna do that because
Okay,
Ghost
so-
is still a thinker. Even though he's acting kind of erratic in this episode, he's still a thinker.
But then, then what's the whole point of getting rid of Angie right at this point then? Because of the fact that if he thinks he's doing Angie some good by getting rid of her,
He panicked.
I think he
That's
just
the
has distancing her so that he can rework his plan.
Rework right.
Because
Rework
we
his
know that
plan.
Angie is very she can be overbearing.
okay, now
And so I think he's distancing her so he can
there's an old saying,
replan.
ain't nothing worse than a woman scorn.
Well,
Right.
we'll see how that plays out because in the previews for next week, we see how she met up with Tasha face to face. We also see in the previews for next week that Tommy, I mentioned earlier how he wasn't going to be riding with Ghost in his plan. He said, I'm going to do things my way. In the previews for next week, we also see next week that a new person has been brought in on the case to investigate the officers involved with letting Lobos go. And she says she's going to figure out who did it. She knows it was somebody in the office.
Right.
So what are you guys' predictions about what's going to happen?
I think that all points to Angie.
Yeah, they're setting her up for the fall.
Yes.
It's really setting her up, and then she has she's going to have a dilemma to she may even have to. I don't know. It puts Angie in a situation now. Her heart's broken. She may try and deliver.
Yeah, and in the previews they also did show that she was saying they're going to give me the death penalty
Like,
if you don't
I
step up and tell the truth.
Right.
So she may have to. I mean, this is a mess.
I think Greg may figure it out before then. Like right now, he's angry with Angie, and it seems obvious to him that it's Angie behind it. But because I think he is a good FBI agent, he's gonna figure out it's someone else. Something's gonna happen. Mike is gonna slip up or something. He's gonna figure
And
it out.
Mike's getting
Yeah.
real
Sloppy,
raunchy with
yeah.
his, with his plans. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's trying to cover
too
his
erratic,
tracks.
and that jumping up, going out, and making another phone call.
Yeah, he's giving himself away at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and another thing that I was wondering about is the fact that the only reason that Milan knows that Tommy and Ghost stole his product is because last season Ruiz told Vladimir.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if Ruiz is going to come back up eventually and they're going to find out that he was the one that gave him up about, them making that hit on Milan's product.
If that's the case, he has to go too.
Yeah. But even further than that, we see this episode specifically, Ghost gets rid of one threat and another one pops up. So he got rid of Lobos and Milan pops up, but he still is completely unaware of Kanan.
Right.
So this is going to get good.
Yeah, it's
Right. Well, we didn't even talk about like Tommy's mind state and everything because we see that he's still reeling from the death of Holly.
Oh yeah, he is.
And things, and even like he doesn't even know about the baby. And then when Tasha mentioned it to Ghost,
Yes.
Ghost was like,
Tommy wants everything physical, and it's not. He doesn't want to stop to take time out and breathe and look at where the situation is. He wants to let's just go shoot up everybody.
He's very erratic. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's gonna be
actually
interesting
Ghost
if that-
sounded like that. This episode,
Yeah.
he sounded more like that than Tommy did. This.
I think that was just lack of thought,
Right.
because that's not Ghost.
That isn't Ghost.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to continue to see the upbuild, and this season is on the on the incline. So every week we see it's getting more and more intense. So I think that as we go forward next week, we're going to have a really good discussion. So we just want to thank you guys again for watching. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at The Spot Real Talk. And tune in next week for another exciting recap.
Right.
Good night.